Brad Sweet calls it a career. The Stenhouse Marshall ride is officially filled. We'll talk Sunday racing and more. Let's go. It's Monday, October 20th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. If you want to make sure you are always in the dirt racing loop, up on the latest news, results, and chatter, hit that subscribe button on YouTube or the podcast places. You can also like and follow DIRTRACKR on Facebook. That will make sure you never miss a fresh daily show. Video versions of the daily are posted 5 days a week to YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. You can also listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and at DIRTRACKR.com. Full show transcripts also available at DIRTRACKR.com/daily if you would like to read the show or you know someone who is hard of hearing. Everything I just mentioned here, it's free to do, and the daily shows are always free to watch and listen to. The next milestone we're trying to reach is 50,000 on YouTube, and we're headed for 60,000 over on Facebook. As expected, big news last night out of the High Limit Sprint Car season-ending banquet with Brad Sweet announcing his retirement from full-time competition. The announcement came during Sweet's emotional banquet speech where he was joined on stage by his daughter and team owner Kasey Kahne. Sweet joined Kasey Kahne Racing in 2007 and walks away after an incredible 18-year run together that includes 92 World of Outlaws wins, 14 more with High Limit, a Knoxville Nationals score, 2 Kings Royals, 5 World of Outlaws championships, and a title with High Limit. Sweet is 10th all-time in Outlaw wins and will be an easy Hall of Famer. Going back to 2017, 2018, 2019, we really saw a shift at the top of sprint car racing, with things transitioning from a dominant Donnie Schatz era to the Brad Sweet era. Other drivers won big races and took down big money, but nobody did it every single night like Brad Sweet did. Since winning the World of Outlaws Championship in 2019 by a very narrow margin over Schatz, Sweet has really been the guy at the top of sprint car racing. He won on the biggest stages and was easily the most prolific championship racer we've seen in a while. His ability to just top 5 and top 10 his competition into oblivion made him nearly impossible to beat over a full season. Donnie Schatz and Steve Kinzer are the only 2 drivers with more titles in a career than Sweet. That's really good company. And he did it all driving effectively for one team. Outside of racing, Sweet promoted events at Placerville. He took over Silver Dollar Speedway with Kyle Larson and Colby Copeland, and obviously founded High Limit with Larson and Flo Racing. He's built a solid portfolio of racing businesses along with the addition of NARC, and that's going to be his focus going forward. He'd said all along he wasn't going to race into old age. I know he said it to me and he said it to others, and it's nice to see a driver go out on their own terms. Going forward, I'm sure we'll still see him race from time to time, but whether that's 5 races a year, 10 races, 25 races, I don't think even he knows. We watched guys like Darren Pittman and Jason Myers go from full-time schedules to just a handful of races a year, and now Myers doesn't race at all. I wouldn't be surprised to see something similar here. Maybe a few races just to scratch the itch, but a few years down the road, maybe that goes completely to zero. He's clearly been setting himself up for this eventuality, and now the drive and the focus changes. This end has been coming for a while, but it's clear that the crash and injury from Eldora affected Sweet and maybe the timeline here. He told Jeremy Elliott that the crash was, quote, an eye-opening experience. A young family, businesses to run, it's hard to blame him for thinking that way. But one of the best to ever sit in a sprint car, and contributions to the sport aplenty, with obviously a lot more to come. Real quick before we move on, I did go back through my own photo archives to find the first photo that I could find that I took of Brad Sweet. This is a crappy cell phone photo that I took at Dirt Car Nationals in 2014 of the KKR team in the pits. 3 cars, Cale Kane hanging out there. I'm assuming Brad is in the car, but it's kind of hard to tell. This is pretty clearly during engine heat, and I think that's Pittman that we can see kind of sitting in the 9 with his helmet on. Moving on to the future for Kasey Kahne Racing itself, the anticipated hire of Dazen Pursley is clearly to replace Sweet in that team. Last night's announcement giving us that extra bit of public context. Whether it's the 9 or the 49 car, all signs are pointing towards Pursley full-time with High Limit in a Napa-sponsored ride next year. We talked not long ago about the team missing out on bringing Joe Mooney back into the fold as crew chief to lead Pursley's effort, with Mooney deciding to remain with Anthony Macri for 2026. A name to watch here for the crew chief role could be Jarrett Martin. Martin was previously with Keith Kunz Motorsports as a crew chief, and I believe spent time with Chad Boat's team before joining KKR around that time of the 49 crew being released at Knoxville. He's an up-and-comer. He's a former racer. He's worked with Pursley before, and I think could end up being the guy. What happens with a second KKR ride, I think, is still up in the air. Maybe Kasey and Brad share it, or maybe it goes away completely in sweet races elsewhere. I don't know that those things are worked out here just yet, but word on the street is KKR already has its next driver, likely its next crew chief, and we're just waiting on all of that to become official. While we wait for the silly season dominoes, to become official here, one other move did just do that today. Stenhouse Jr. Marshall Racing announced that Spencer Bayston will drive the NOS 17 sprint car next year full-time on tour with the World of Outlaws, Bayston replacing the departing Sheldon Haudenschild. Bayston's team will be led by Kyle Pruitt, who took over the crew chief role on the 17 here just a few weeks ago after the team moved on from Kyle Ripper. This was a move I first told you guys about last week, so if you watch the show regularly, today's news shouldn't have been a big surprise. I know the team talked to a number of possible replacements before landing on Bayston. As we've documented, Bayston's last couple of seasons haven't gone to plan, and he was ride searching after losing the Myers 14 deal after the Knoxville Nationals. Since then, Bayston has made appearances with the Works Limited car in Paul Silva and with Tarleton Motorsports. He's had good runs out west, including most recently finishing second to Tanner Holmes in the Trophy Cup finale after leading laps late. I said last week that I'll be curious to see which version of Bayston we get next year, the one who struggled with CJB and Myers, or this most recent one where he runs up front and looks really good. If he wants his sprint car career to continue in any meaningful way, he has to stay where he's been lately. After he lost the Myers deal, I didn't think there would even be another opportunity like this available to him, but the sprint car silly season gods are looking upon him with favor. The announcement from the team says the new pairing will debut at World Finals in a few weeks. SJMR will field a second car for Bayston alongside Haudenschild in the Outlaws season finale. At Angel Park Speedway last night, that very same NOS 17 was sitting in victory lane with Sheldon Haudenschild going third to the win on the famed Wisconsin short track. He outdueled Emerson Axum and kept control late when the surface started to rubber up. Axum made a late charge but finished second after leading 8 laps, and David Gravel was third. The 17 deal, I think, could have gone completely sideways down the stretch here after crew chief Kyle Ripper was released, but Sheldon has really stepped up and battled kind of in this lame duck situation. Lincoln Park didn't go great, but with crew chief Kyle Pruitt, it's 3 top 5s in 4 races, and now this win. Behind crew chief Kyle Pruitt, that 17 crew now includes Nate Repitz, who just recently left the Macri Motorsports team, and Cole Newhoffen, who was one of the 49 crew guys who got released from KKR at Knoxville. I think all 3 crew guys probably felt pretty good about the win, given their individual circumstances. I thought it was interesting, too. Pruitt mentioned to Connor Wade swapping the car over to Penske shocks. Through these first few races, maybe something there with Pruitt and Sheldon. On the flip side, it sounds like Kyle Ripper now helping out Emerson Axum. Axum mentioned him in the podium interviews. It's funny how it came down to those 2 cars battling for the win with these guys on it, kind of with all that's gone on here lately. The Outlaws are back at it Friday and Saturday this week with races at 81 Speedway and Arrowhead Speedway, which is their last trip here before World Finals. In other action yesterday, Matt Shepard was a short track Super Series winner at Hagerstown. The win helped him cap off the South Region title for the modified series. $7,000 for the win and $10,000 for the title. Shepard topped Alex Yankowski and Alex Perego in that feature. All that remains now for the short track Super Series is the hard clay finale at Orange County Fair that happens here later this week. That's the show for today. Don't forget, if you want even more dirt racing stuff, make sure to follow Dirt Tracker across social media. That means Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and a whole lot more. Wherever you are, so is Dirt Tracker. Just search out DIRTRACKR on your favorite platform. Hope you guys have a great Monday out there. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.